Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Swapnil Srivastava, PhD scholar, Department of Agriculture Biotechnology, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel University of Agriculture and Technology, Meerut. Here to present my presentation on the topic successful cultivation of vegetables in greenhouse. First of all, what is greenhouse farming? Greenhouse farming is a type of agriculture where crops are usually grown in greenhouses. These structures are usually made of metals or plastic and have transparent roofs and walls that allow sunlight to enter. The temperature and humidity inside a greenhouse can be controlled and regulated, which creates an ideal environment for plants to grow. Greenhouses allow farmers to grow all crops year round, regardless of the season. It is a type of agriculture that uses artificial structures to simulate the conditions of the outdoors. This allows the farmers to grow crops in a much more controlled and consistent environment, leading to an increased yield and higher quality of produce. Greenhouse farming involves cultivating plants under controlled conditions in an enclosed environment. This type of farming is widely practiced in developed countries and is now gaining popularity in India. The government is promoting greenhouse farming and has released a list of crops that can be grown under controlled conditions. The government also provides subsidies and loans to encourage farmers to take up this form of cultivation. Classifications of greenhouses on the basis of suitability and cost. First, low cost or low tech greenhouses. Low cost greenhouse is a simple structure constructed with locally available materials such as bamboo or timber. The ultraviolet film is used as a cladding material. Unlike conventional or high tech greenhouses, no specific control devices or regulating environmental parameters inside the greenhouse are provided. Simple techniques are, however, adopted for increasing or decreasing the temperature and humidity. Even light intensity can be reduced by incorporating shading materials like nets. The temperature can be reduced during summer by opening the side walls. Such structures is used as rain shelter for crop cultivation. Otherwise, inside temperature is increased when all side walls are covered with a plastic film. This type of greenhouse is mainly suitable for cold climatic zones. Second, medium tech greenhouses. Greenhouses prefer to have a manually or semi-automatic control arrangement owing to a minimum investment. This type of greenhouse is constructed using galvanized iron pipes. The canopy cover is attached with a structure with the help of screws. Whole structure is firmly fixed with the ground to withstand the disturbance against the winds. Exhaust fans with thermostats are provided to control the temperature. Evaporative cooling pads and misting arrangements are also made to maintain a favorable humidity inside the greenhouse. As these systems are semi-automatic, hence require a lot of attention and care, and it is very difficult and cumbersome to maintain uniform environment throughout the cropping period. These greenhouses are suitable for dry and composite climatic zones. Third, high-tech greenhouses. To overcome some of difficulties in medium-tech greenhouses, a high-tech greenhouse where the entire device controlling the environment parameters are supported to function automatically. Next, a site selection for ideal greenhouse. A good site can make all the differences in the functioning and environmental operations of a polyhouse or greenhouse. The soil should have a pH of 5.5 to 6.5 that is slightly acidic. Availability of continuous source of quality water. The pH of irrigation water should be 5.5 to 7. It should have a good supply of electricity. A ground slope for drainage is an important factor to divert surface water away from the greenhouses. Greenhouses should be located away from buildings and trees to avoid obstruction to sunlight. Facility of good road transport to the near market, easy and cheap availability of laborers. Communication facility should be available at site. Orientation of the greenhouse. Orientation of the greenhouse could be in any direction when they are in single span. Multi-span greenhouses should be oriented in north-south direction only to avoid continuous shading of certain portions of the greenhouse by its structural members. Costs involved. First, less expensive greenhouse without fan or and pad. That is the basic greenhouse. It would range about rupees 300 to 500 per meter square. Medium tech greenhouses or medium cost greenhouses with pad and fan system without automation would range from rupees 8,800 to 1100 per meter square. Expensive greenhouses or high-tech greenhouses with fully automatic control system would range from rupees 2,000 to 3,500 per meter square. Benefits of greenhouse farming. The main advantages of greenhouse farming is that it allows farmers to control the environment in which their crops are grown. This means they can protect their plants from extreme weather conditions and pests, ensuring a higher yield. Greenhouse farming can significantly increase crop production as crops are protected from extreme weather conditions and pests. Greenhouse farming requires less water than traditional open field farming as water is recycled and used more efficiently. Crops grown in greenhouses are typically higher quality as they are better protected from the elements. Government offers subsidies and loans to encourage farmers to adopt greenhouse farming practices. By controlling the temperature, humidity, and ventilation inside a greenhouse, farmers can create an ideal environment for the crops. This results in higher yield and better quality produce. Greenhouses protect crops from harsh weather conditions such as high winds and heavy rains. This helps reduce crop losses due to weather-related damage. Greenhouse requires less water than traditional open field farms. This is because of evaporation is minimized and irrigation can be more efficiently managed inside a greenhouse. The controlled environment of a greenhouse allows farmer to use a fewer inputs such as pesticides and fertilizers. This reduces production cost and increases the profits of the farmers. Why consider vegetable greenhouse farming? A greenhouse requires a small land area for production. It protects crops against adverse weather, pests, and diseases. There are easy temperature control and practices of integrated pest management ideal for vegetable production. A greenhouse ensures a higher crop yield and improved quality of vegetables. There is an efficient use of resources like water and nutrients. Water requirement of crops is limited and easy to control. The crop yield may be 10 to 12 times higher than that of outdoor cultivation, depending on the type of greenhouses, crop type, environmental control facilities. Reliability of crop increases under greenhouse farming. Ideally suited for vegetable crops, off-season production of vegetable crops, disease-free, genetically superior transplants can be formed continuously. Efficient utilization of chemicals and pesticides control pests and diseases. Suitability of greenhouse vegetable farming. Greenhouse farming for vegetables can be suited for starting hardy vegetable plants early, growing tender crops such as tomatoes, chilies, peppers, cucumbers, and aubergines through summer months, trying such exotic and heat-loving plants such as sweet potatoes, melons, and okra. Vegetables to grow in the winter in greenhouses. Vegetables best for greenhouse vegetable gardening in the winter season include lettuce, spinach, radish, tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers. Though what you can successfully grow depends on the nighttime temperature you decide to keep. A cool greenhouse with a nighttime temperature range of 4 to 7 degrees Celsius works for lettuce, spinach, and radishes. Peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers need warmer temperature at night around 18 degrees Celsius, particularly when the fruit is growing. Temperature management in greenhouse vegetable farming. High or low temperature have negative effects on plant growth and development. Pest pressure increases as temperature increases, and the greenhouse can be considered as a solar energy collector. Solar radiation is reflected, absorbed, and transferred. During the summer season, shade cloths are used to reduce the heat load and air temperature, but it has negative effects since it reduces the irradiance of the crops. The shade cloth subdivides the volume of air inside the greenhouses into two separate microclimates below and above the shade cloth. Another method to reduce the temperature is by applying a shading compound on the glazing. This process is more efficient because the compound is applied to the outside of the glazing Light is diffused more efficiently through the greenhouse, and the volume air inside the greenhouse is not compromised. Spacing between rows and plants in the greenhouse. It is very important because parameters such as light, air circulation, and performing day-to-day tasks can be compromised. In greenhouse farming, every space has to be maximized. So it is imperative to consider plant needs for optimum growth and development, while at the same time maximizing resources. For example, tomatoes are grown in rows that are about 6 feet apart. Each row has two plants and they are 2 feet apart. In each row, there is a drip system that waters and feeds each plant, and excess water is collected in a trough running along the length of each row. Let's suppose the grower decides to grow lettuce. The changing of the greenhouse layout for growing lettuce plants will be consuming, expensive, and some of the volume of the greenhouse will be unused. Location of a greenhouse for vegetable farming. The ideal location for a greenhouse system has high winter light intensity, moderate temperature, low humidity, and easy access to markets. The easy availability of existing utilities will help reduce establishment cost and then will affect ongoing fuel cost. Avoid trees or buildings that can shade the greenhouse, although windbreaks will help in reducing heating cost if properly located. Be sure to leave sufficient room for future expansion of highways. Highways have made transporting grown vegetables easier. Locating greenhouses grown vegetable near large population areas is very important. For example, high quality tomatoes must be vine ripened. Ripe tomatoes are hard to transport, so the closer they are to the retail market, the better it is. Successfully cultivating vegetables in a greenhouse involves creating an environment that mimics the optimal conditions for plant growth. Here are the key steps and factors to consider. Choose the right vegetable. Select vegetables that are well suited for greenhouse cultivation. Many common greenhouses vegetables include tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, lettuce, spinach, and herbs. Greenhouse selection. Choose the right type and size of greenhouse. Consider the factor such as sunlight, exposure, ventilation, insulation. Greenhouses can be made of glass, polycarbonate, or polyethylene, each with its own advantages. Temperature control. Maintain an optimal temperature range for your chosen vegetable. Most vegetables thrive in temperature range between 60 to 80 Fahrenheit or 15 to 27 degrees Celsius. Use heaters, fans, and vents to control temperature. Lighting. Ensure proper lighting, especially during the winters or in regions with limited sunlight. Supplement natural light with artificial lighting using high quality LED grow lights. Watering and irrigation. Implement a reliable watering system to maintain consistent moisture levels. Drip irrigation or hoses are efficient methods. Avoid overwatering as it can lead to diseases. Nutrient management. Regularly monitor and adjust nutrient levels. Use a balanced fertilizer and consider hydroponic or aquaponic system for precise nutrient control. Pest and disease management. Implement integrated pest management strategies to control pests without excessive use of chemicals. Regularly inspect plants for signs of diseases and pests. Spacing and crop rotation. Plan the layout to provide adequate spacing between plants for proper air circulation. Rotate crops to prevent the buildup of pests and diseases. Support structure. Install trellises or stakes for plants that require support, such as tomatoes or cucumbers. This helps maximize space and promotes proper growth. Monitoring and record keeping. Keep a log of environmental conditions such as temperature, humidity, and light intensity. This information can help you make adjustments for optimal plant growth. Training and pruning. Train and prune plants as needed to improve airflow, encourage fruit development, and manage plant size. This is especially important for vining crops. Harvesting and crop rotation. Harvest vegetables at the right time to ensure peak flavor and nutrition. Practice Crop rotation to prevent soil-borne diseases. Ventilation. Install ventilation system to regulate humidity and prevent fungal diseases. Proper air circulation also helps with temperature control. Soil quality. Use high quality soil or soilless mixtures. Consider adding organic matter and nutrients to enhance soil fertility. Soilless mixes like coco coir or hydroponic system are common in greenhouse setups. Now, greenhouse cultivation of cucumber. The planting time of cucumber, uh, the growing season of cucumber is relatively short, lasting from 90 to 120 days for greenhouse varieties. Summer crop season is February, sowing in February with seedling. March and March sowing can be with direct seed sowing. Winter crop season ranges from August September to up to December. Direct sowing is recommended generally when temperature is above 15 degrees Celsius. Generally for polyhouses, parthenocarpic cucumber, that is, they produce fruit without the need of pollination. Double row sowing in summer crop and single row sowing in winter crop is recommended. For sandy loam, two drip lines are recommended. For clay soil, drip line can be used. Plant population of 8,000 to 10,000 plants per acre is recommended. Flowering in greenhouses occur at 30 days after sowing. After 45 days, we'd get the first harvest, and the crop would complete its life cycle in about 100 to 120 days. Harvesting and yield. From transplanting to first harvest, it would take 30 to 35 to 40 days in gynoecious varieties, that is the female plants. In good managed crops, that is February, March crop, yield would be about 4 to 5 kg per plant. In the crops sown in August to September, it would yield about 2 to 3 kg per plant, and the crops sown in May to June would yield about 2 kgs per plant. Soil preparation. Deep plowing of field is required. Farmyard manure at the rate of 10 trolleys per acre. Chicken manures at the rate of 2 trolleys per acre. Biochar or wood ash at 4 trolley per acre. Vermicompost at 2 metric ton per acre during bed preparation along with microbial cultures. Microbes like Trichoderma, Pseudomonas, Bacillomyces, a phosphate solubilizing bacteria, potash solubilizing bacteria, Azotobacter should be added at the rate of 2 liters per acre each before planting. That is at the time of sowing, before sowing. Climate requirement. Although maximum growth occurs at the day and night temperature of about 28 degrees Celsius, maximum fruit production is achieved with a night temperature of 19 to 20 degrees Celsius and a day temperature of 20 to 22 degrees Celsius. The optimum daily average temperature is 15 to 24 degrees Celsius. Optimum temperature growth are at night about 18 degrees Celsius and during day at about 28 degrees Celsius, accompanied by high light intensity. Fertilizer and water requirement. Cucumber needs continuous water supply depending on the soil and climate. In general, greenhouse cucumbers are irrigated through drip system of irrigation and fertilizers are applied through water. In addition to NPK, calcium is also required for fruit quality and higher yield. Calcium should always be applied through soil, not spraying boron. Not spraying, sorry. Boron spray is required at the time of flowering and fruit setting. Next, greenhouse cultivation of capsicum. Capsicum is an important commercial vegetable crop known as sweet pepper, bell pepper, or Shimla mirch. These plants grow throughout the world. This crop is a cold season crop, but capsicum is cultivated throughout the year using polyhouses. Calcium is a rich source. Capsicum is a rich source of vitamin A, vitamin C, and mineral calcium. Is 13.4 milligram, magnesium 14.9 milligram, and phosphorus 28.3 milligram, potassium 263.7 milligram per 100 grams of fresh capsicum fruit weight. Soil texture requirement. The pH of soil should be between 6.6 to 6.5. Soil salinity level should not be more than 1 ms per centimeter. Therefore, as soon as you select the site, analyze the soil for further improvement. The soil should be highly porous and should be well drained so that the roots can be improved and a better penetration of roots. Bed preparation. Heights of bed should be 1 feet or 30 centimeter. Width should be 3 feet, that is 90 centimeter. And between the two beds, there should be a gap or spacing of 2 feet, that is 60 centimeter. Capsicum cultivation transplanting. Plant trans plant Plants are transplanted in soil without disturbing the root ball. Two row two rows are planted on a single bed. Plant to plant distance is 45 to 50 centimeter. Row to row distance is 50 centimeter. After plantation, maintain moisture of 80 to 90% for the protection of plants from 2 to 3 weeks. Irrigation. To reduce the pH of water, add the acid to the water tank, then use for irrigation and sprinkling. Immediately after plantation, irrigation required to start. The first shower is required to use after some days. Drip irrigation will be used. This will help for uniform root development of a plant. Usually, a dripper per plant is required. Uh, depending uh, Depending on the season, drip irrigation provides 2 to 4 liters of water per square meter. In hot summer, a fogger can be used to maintain the air humidity. Fertigation. Fertigation is applicable after 3 weeks of vegetation phase. NPK in the ratio of 1 is to 1 is to 1 at 0.4 gram during the vegetation phase, preferably for every 45 to 60 alternate days for better leaves. After 60 days, start NPK in the ratio of 2 is to 1 is to 4 at 0.4 gram per 2.2 ms per centimeter. More flower and better fruit quality for more flower and better fruit quality uh, with each alternate day. Fertigation should be given at 6 to 8 a.m. in the morning for better use of plants. Collect the recommended amount of fertilizers and dissolve them in sufficient amount of volume of water. Harvesting of capsicum. Harvesting of capsicum fruit starts after 80 to 90 days from transplanting. The best harvesting time is in the morning. Fruits can be cut once in 3 to 4 days. Yellow and red fruits can be harvested when they receive 50 to 80% of the color development. Now, how much does a greenhouse cost for 1 acre in India? The cost of building a greenhouse for 1 acre in India can vary depending on several factors, such as the type of materials used, the location, and the technologies involved. Generally, the cost of a greenhouse for 1 acre in India can range from rupees 20 lakhs to 50 lakhs or more. The cost may be higher if advanced technologies like drip irrigation, fertigation, and automation are used. However, the Indian government offers several subsidy schemes to encourage farmers to adopt modern farming practices, like greenhouse farming. These subsidies can range from up to 50% to 100% of the total cost of setting up of greenhouses, which can significantly reduce the cost burden for farmers. By investing in a greenhouse, farmers can increase their yield, reduce the risk associated with weather, pest damage, and potentially earn higher profits. Next, government greenhouse or polyhouse farming subsidy schemes in India. First, National Horticulture Mission. Under this scheme, financial assistance is provided to farmers for the establishment of polyhouses, greenhouses, or for the commercial cultivation of fruits, vegetables, and flowers. The subsidy percentage provided by the National Horticulture Mission is as follows. For the general category, 50% of the cost of a greenhouse, polyhouse, subject to a maximum of 25% per 25 lakh per hectare. For the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes category, 60% of the cost of the greenhouse or polyhouse, subject to a maximum of 30 lakhs per hectare. The assistance provided under this scheme includes the cost of the greenhouse polyhouse structure, shade net, insect net, a drip irrigation system, and other inputs required for cultivation. Second, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana is a centrally sponsored scheme launched in 2007 to promote agricultural development nationwide. The scheme provides financial assistance to farmers to establish polyhouses, greenhouses, for the commercial cultivation of crops. The subsidy percentage provided by RKVY is as follows. For general categories, 50% of the cost of the greenhouse or polyhouse, subject to a maximum of rupees 10 lakh per hectare. For scheduled caste and scheduled tribes category, 60% of the cost of the greenhouse or polyhouse, subject to a maximum of 12 lakh per hectare. The assistance provided under this scheme includes the cost of the greenhouse, polyhouse structure, shade net, insect net, drip irrigation system, and other inputs required for cultivation. Third, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Under this scheme, farmers can avail the financial assistance to insure their crop against natural calamities, pests, and diseases. In addition to crop insurance, the scheme also provides a premium subsidy for farmers who adopt greenhouse polyhouse farming techniques. The subsidy percentage provided by the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana is as follows. For general categories, 5% of the premium of the greenhouse or polyhouse farming, subject to a maximum of rupees 7,500 per hectare. For scheduled caste and scheduled tribes category, 10% of the premium of the greenhouse or polyhouse farming, subject to a maximum of 15,000 per hectare. Next, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD. The National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development provides financial assistance to farmers to establish polyhouses or greenhouses for the commercial cultivation of crops. The assistance provided by NABARD is in the form of loans, and the subsidy percentage depends on the loan amount and the category of the farmer. The subsidy percentage provided by the NABARD is as follows. For the general category, up to 25% of the total project cost, subject to a maximum of 10 lakhs. For scheduled caste and scheduled tribes category, up to 33.33% of the total project cost, subject to a maximum of rupees 15 lakhs. The uh, loan provided by NABARD can cover the cost of greenhouse polyhouse structure, shade net, insect net, drip irrigation system, and other inputs required for cultivation. Now, what is the repayment period of the of the loan for the greenhouse farming scheme? The repayment period of the greenhouse farming scheme varies depending on the scheme and the loan amount. In general, most schemes offer a period of 3 to 5 years, with some scheme allowing for a longer repayment period of up to 7 years. It's important to note that the repayment period typically begins after a grace period ranging from 6 months to 2 years. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swapnil, for the detailed presentation. Now I'll take up some questions.
Sure.
So the first question is, what are the key considerations for selecting the right vegetables to grow in greenhouse setting?
So, as discussed in the presentation two, the key consideration should be the uh, according to the local climate too, and according to the size and the climate of the local environment, along with the pH of the soil, and also the availability of water and the temperature requirement of the crop.
Okay. And can you share insights on optimizing temperature and humidity levels for successful greenhouse vegetable farming?
Sure. Temperature control in the greenhouses depends mainly on the material used for the greenhouse. It can be either in the form of nets, or in the case of polyhouses, it is polyethylene ethylene sheets. For the basic low level greenhouses, temperature can be easily controlled by opening up the uh, uh, side walls, as discussed in the presentation too. But just by in the basic greenhouses, if the walls of the polyhouses are open in the like basic, it can be considered as a window. If the windows are opened of the basic polyhouses, the temperature would automatically reduce, and it would lead to a lower temperature inside the greenhouse if the temperature is increasing. For medium and high-tech polyhouses, there thermostats are used, where heaters and blowers or bigger fans are used, which circulate air within the greenhouses and control the temperature. For humidity cannot be ideally controlled in the basic polyhouses or low tech polyhouses. It is basically done by exhaust fans in there. And in the high tech or medium tech polyhouses, there are mist nozzles which spray mist or steam at times steam in the polyhouses, which controls the humidity. And also there are bigger sized fans or exhaust that are used to circulate the air within, so that controls both the temperature and humidity within the greenhouses.
Okay. Okay. And next question is, how do you effectively manage pest and disease control in a greenhouse environment?
So the greenhouse is already a kind of protected cultivation that is already covered from the already separated from the external environment by the sheets or nets, whatever used as the material or the wall. So it is already a protected cultivation. The limited protection is needed while handling keeping a check on the breakages of the walls, or if there is some cracks or openings in somewhere in the opening material, or while someone is the person involved is entering into the through the gates. It is in proper care needs to be taken to ensure that the insects do not enter it. If in case there are some insects or pests, then it is managed by using pesticides or chemical uh, fungus and bacteria can be used by controlled by chemical fungicides or pesticides like mancozeb, carbendazim, etc., or by fumigation.
Okay. And what are the essential technologies or equipment needed for a successful greenhouse vegetable farm?
So the basic technologies are mainly related to control of temperature, humidity, and irrigation. So for irrigation, the best approach can be inside a like for a bigger greenhouse, it can be either by sprinkler systems or by drip irrigation. Drip irrigation is considered for best for the optimum water use efficiency. Sprinkler systems can be used in case where there are bigger systems, but that would require a bit more skill and more cost. It would incur most more cost in setup of the whole system. Then coming to temperature and humidity, as already discussed, that would require larger sized fans, exhaust, or heating and cooling by heaters, blowers, or cooling by air conditioners that would be required. So these are the new technologies that can be introduced in the greenhouses.
Mr. Swapnil, you can stop sharing the screen and start your video if you're comfortable with.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Next question, can you provide tips on maximizing space utilization and crop yield within a greenhouse?
Space utilization can be done by incorporating more than one type of crop within a greenhouse. That is, like if we have a crop that is a climbing type or creeping type, along with that, we can incorporate a bushy type plant in the same. Suppose, like for taking example of tomatoes, if we take climbing type tomatoes, we can incorporate bushy type chilies along with it. So we'll get dual yield both from chili as well as tomatoes. Both of them required almost the same cultural practices. so it will be beneficial for both. Another example can be incorporating of small short duration fruit crops, like if we incorporate grapes, like creeping climbing type grapes. Along with that, some other vegetables or other fruits can be incorporated.
Okay. And what are the most common mistakes that beginners make in greenhouse vegetable farming, and how can they be avoided?
Basic mistakes that can be made is not providing the proper level of fertilization, or providing. That is, inside it is since it is a controlled environment, it requires specific levels of fertilization, and if like over fertilization will also have a negative impact on it. And the soil and the irrigation water that is used should be regularly checked. Normal irrigation water, like the ones groundwater, if used in drip irrigation systems, that contains a calcium and magnesium salts, which often lead to clogging of the pores of the drips. So that is a problem, which would lead to a lower efficiency and clogging of the pipes. So that is important to check the quality of the soil and the irrigation water which is being used.
Okay. And have you stopped screen sharing? I
No,
can
not yet.
see it.
I'll just stop it. Yeah, done.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I can see. Yeah. And how do you determine the ideal watering and irrigation practices for different types of greenhouse vegetables?
The most ideal system for irrigation in the greenhouse would be drip irrigation. That has that is easily controlled by the pumps, and the amount of irrigation which needs to go on each plant, that will be watering the plant to its directly to its base or near its root zone. That can be easily controlled by the pumps and the size of the nozzles that are used at the base of the plants. So it is the most efficient. Second would be by sprinkler system. Sprinkler system also get a benefit, like a easily foliar spray of some fertilizers or pesticides, but if needed to be done, that can be easily mixed with the water and be sprayed directly on the crop foliage of the crop.
Yeah. Can you share cost-effective strategies for greenhouse construction and maintenance?
Sorry, ma'am, please repeat.
Can you share cost-effective strategies for greenhouse construction and maintenance?
Cost effective strategies would be if making a smaller like low tech greenhouses, locally available materials like bamboo and twigs and sticks from trees locally available can be used to make the small low scale uh, greenhouses. And in case the drip irrigation is not available, and since it is a high tech sprinkler not available, there should be a control for the water that is being applied. Also, in construction, it should be taken care of maintaining the soil.
Okay. And yeah, what role does soil health play in greenhouse vegetable farming, and how can it be maintained or improved?
For any crop, be it in normal field conditions or in greenhouse, soil health is at most important. Uh, if the soil is already infected with pathogens, it would be very bad, be it in field condition or in greenhouses. Since in greenhouses, it is already a controlled environment and limited in a particular space. If a single crop is infected by any pest or diseases, it is there is a very likely chance that it would spread very fast to all the surrounding plants, and the yield would be reduced or not. Second, maintenance of soil health can be done by regular soil testing. Before planting and sowing of a crop, soil testing should be done. For soil testing, the farmers can easily go to their nearby Krishi Vigyan Kendras or KVKs or farm science centers, which are affiliated to agriculture universities. And there are about 500, more than 500 KVKs now opened all over the country. The farmers can take their soil samples to KVKs and get it tested for their nutrient content, as well as the if to check if there's any inoculation for any pest or any pathogen in the soil. If not, if that soil is healthy, if if it is there, proper treatment should be done by either cultural methods or chemical, physical, whatever methods are available. In cultural methods, the soil can be deep plowed or deep summer plowing, flooding, and hot water treatment, etc. Or by if there are pathogens, there can be fumigation and application of fungicide, pesticides before sowing of the crops to maintain the soil. An addition of organic manures like farmyard manure, cow dung, etc., can be done to maintain the soil health.
Okay. And how do you create balanced nutrient management plan for various vegetables grown in greenhouse?
So, for a balanced nutrient management for the soil and crop health, it is important to practice crop rotation. So by crop rotation, it would mean if we do tomatoes for the first season, the next season it should be something else. Suppose tomato takes up the nitrogen from the soil, so next crop should be a legume like cowpea or something like that, or legume that would again fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere and enrich the soil again with the nutrients.
Okay. And what market trends or consumer preferences should greenhouse vegetable farmers be aware of to, to enhance their profitability?
The most recent trend nowadays is true organic farming. If a farmer practices greenhouse cultivation and also the organic farming together, that is without the use of any chemical pesticides or insecticide or fungicide, using natural methods. So that would be the most trending in the, because of the uh, uh, growing demand of organic foods. The people are now trying to avoid the chemically induced products to owing to their health. So organic farming inside a greenhouse would be a very good suggestion. Also, greenhouse would give upper hand to the farmers to sell their produce, create produce an off-season crop. So that would also be a benefit to gain extra income before the normal harvest are available in the market.
Okay. And are there any specific government regulations or certifications that greenhouse vegetable farmers need to be mindful of in their operation?
I'm sorry, I'm not aware of this.
Okay. Yeah. 1 second. I think I don't see any more questions from our participants. Before we end, can you let us know brief details about your career background and what made you to take an interest in this particular subject in agriculture? I mean to say, how did you enter the agriculture sector firstly?
Actually, I chose agriculture for me while I was pursuing my plus two, that is in my class 12. I was searching for other subjects that I can pursue other than medical, because being from biology background, it is the most chosen one is medical. I didn't want to go for the same, so I was looking for options. Then I came across agriculture as a subject. I got fascinated by it. Then I chose it as my graduation subject, and now it's been 8 years since. And right now I'm in my second year of my PhD in the same.
Okay, great to know. Okay, yeah. Okay, Mr. Swapnil, I don't see any more questions from participants. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank you for the detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.
It was my pleasure too. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Thank you.